It's Perfectly Queer with It Gets Better.
Hello and welcome to Perfectly Queer with the It Gets Better project. I am your semi-friendly chaos bisexual Tayler.
And I am your fairy god person, Mr. Shelton Whimsy. Hello. And we are here to help you all live your most authentic life, whatever that may be for you.
And help you build community and spark joy for like roughly the next hour and some change. Yes. Okay. So as you guys know, as has been advertised, we have a fabulous guest host and one of our wonderful producers, Shelton Lindsay, otherwise known as Shelton Whimsy. I'm so excited to have you here while my co-host Ever is doing fabulous undisclosed things at an undisclosed location.
Basically spy work.
Yeah, art spy.
They're an art spy.
Absolutely. But tell the chat and like the general public about yourself, you know, who you are, what you do, what your life is like.
Oh my God. Hi. Longtime fan of the show. I really enjoy walking my parents' dog and reading like any queer sci-fi that I can get my hands on. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of like interpretive dance. I really do think that like if you spend as much time as like humanly possible, like moving your body in like ways that are like fun and relaxing for yourself, that you will you'll feel really like centered and present. That's just a little bit about who I am.
Thank you for joining us today. The theme for today, we're going to be talking about games, video games specifically. And also, you know, we're in a transition right now through seasons. We're coming to the tail end of summer. We're going into the fall and like, you know, spooky season, Christmas or holiday season, all of that is going on. And so like, you know, like, oh, chat, tell us, what kind of video games do you guys like? What kind of games do you guys play? Like Shelton, what kind of games do you play?
Oh my God. Okay. So recently I have been really into my like Nintendo Switch lifestyle. And I just won like Kirby Forgotten Lands, which felt like a huge win for me.
I also just played that game and
did you like it?
It was so fun. I love Kirby. I love Kirby so much.
I feel like I remember you telling me once, like a long time ago, that like Kirby is your absolutely like favorite queer character. Is that correct?
It's the character that I use in Smash every time I play. I will play any Kirby game that you put in front of me. I'm probably gonna get him tattooed on my body at some point. Like I love Kirby.
I love this for you. In addition to Kirby, I'm a big like Japanese like role-playing game fanatic. And so right now I am playing Triangle Strategy, which is a phenomenal like strategy, like based like trying to win back an empire. Terrible name, absolutely great game.
Yeah, I was gonna say Triangle Strategy. That seems I didn't do well in geometry in high school, so I was very daunted just now.
There's a lot of like interpersonal conflicts that you're attempting to resolve. And until I was like, how do we make everyone happy? The name Triangle Strategy really lives up to like what the experience of the game is. It's just not so strange name. What's your favorite game to play?
Like you, I'm very much Nintendo girly. I try to do the whole, you know, first person shooter, Call of Duty thing. It's a little too much for me. I'm a leisurely game type of girl. I love Animal Crossing. I recently just had to restart because I had not been in my village for like a year and a half and I didn't want to face my villagers. So I was like, I'm just going to start from scratch.
Just like go right back to the beginning.
I hate conflict. I don't like it.
So you abandoned your villagers. What were you doing?
I was like, we'll start over. They won't even know. It's fine.
I love this for you. I love the villagers.
I love like old school arcade games as well. Like my dad had an Atari, Nintendo 64. So like I played a lot of stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, and obviously, I mean, it's not a video game, but like Dungeons and Dragons. Very queer, very fun. Introduced by one of my very good lesbian friends in college, and I love that. I love D&D.
I also a huge D&D fan. What is your favorite character class to play as?
I love being a bard or some sort of mage. Like bards are always fun in a chaotic way. Like I've done, you know, like renditions of Britney songs. I've done like 90s R&B, like just like weird stuff like that. So like, you know, when you roll deception or like when you want to get through a battle, like, it's very fun for me. What about you? What do you like? Who do you like to play?
I like to, you know, I'm just meeting people for the first time. So I like want to pretend that I'm like a good person. And I am, I think I am. But when it like comes to maybe, I don't know. And always I like have so many questions about whether or not I'm a good person when I play D&D, because I just like want to be a warlock who charms
Why
everyone
not?
to do like weird things and like
But why
stabs
not?
people in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worry that if I had superpowers, I would just be a villain, like straight
Okay,
up.
that's kind of fair though. I feel like I've always kind of held that like if you got like invisibility, for instance, I feel like you're more predisposed to doing villainy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like I
mean,
feel like
certain people want to be villains. A lot of people in the chat are saying that they like to play D&D, but I want to know what you guys play as, and if you think that you are like more evil in the world of D&D.
right.
Also, Cult of Lamb game, haven't played. I do have a friend though that is a bit of a Cult of Lamb fanatic, and they have told me many great things. So I also feel like we should check that out.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
Oh, same with The Sims and Cities Skylines. Yes, I love The Sims.
I need to get into The Sims. I haven't played The Sims like seriously, I think in years. I really need to get back into that. Oh, you guys saw my dog? Yeah, he just went to go nap on his cot.
Oh, bye dog. My parents have an Irish Wolfhound. I am obsessed.
I love Irish Wolf. They're too big for me, but like they're
so
cute. They're so cute.
Okay. Panwise, you play a druid and a storm sorcerer. Yeah, it's really hard in D&D for me not to like just want to be the magician version of the world.
Why not? Druids are really fun. I think I've played a druid once, and that was actually a very fun time.
Yeah, they're definitely, I think, the best character in the game.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for agreeing that I'm a bard, Low Genius. I really appreciate that. Superpowers are really scary, R. William. They're really scary. Like, if you thought about them in reality, like, imagine if someone could just lift a car willy-nilly.
It would be crazy.
It would be wild.
I mean, I like wouldn't ever get up from my sofa. I would just like
I would never leave my house.
My mind.
I'd be so scared.
Like, bring me the Cheetos. Yeah, it would be absolutely awful. I would be so lazy if I had superpowers. I'd be evil, and I wouldn't leave the house.
Absolutely.
Maybe those would balance each other out. Who knows? Anyway, friends, it is so nice to have you all here with us today while we're just like chit-chattling along. I feel like we should probably start telling people about what the actual show is going to be.
Absolutely. Okay, so as you guys know, every show we like to start with the Queer Current, which is our news segment. We're going to bring you 5 news stories from all around the queer diaspora that we think you need to like really keep an eye on, or that like really celebrate queerness. That's going to be very fun. And then we're going to move into our Friends of the Family section, where we're going to be talking with one of our special guests and an It Gets Better streamer, Momo. That's going to be very exciting.
Come on, Momo. I love Momo. I'm really excited to have them on this show. I love watching their streams. They're so fun.
Same. I'm very excited. And then we're going to move into the Converse Quick Hit, which is super fun. A lot of the time, Shelton actually cultivates the videos for it, so it'll be fun to like have them on this side of it with me.
I'm really quite excited to like see what they look like.
Yeah.
And also, then quickly, I'm gonna just bounce in here. Thank you, Nova, for giving everyone all these amazing subs. That's so lovely. We love you, Nova. Thank you for being here.
That's so
yeah, look at that. Come on, Nova. Make it rain with them subs. I love that.
You're so sweet. Oh, thank you.
Also, Barbarian, jump in the middle of mess everything up. Just like I'm doing in our run of show right now. I'm the Barbarian of this.
There is no messing anything up.
Today.
This is a chaotic, fun, messy time that we have here on the show during this hour. But after
let's talk about it.
After the Converse Quick Hit, we're going to move into Let's Talk About It. You guys have some questions that you're going to give us as usual, about school, about, ushering in the new season, stuff like that. So we're going to get into that. We'll try to, answer to the best of our abilities. And then finally, we're going to go into Thriving and Enliven with the It Gets Better project. And we're going to be watching a video about presentation. And it's super exciting because we get to talk to the director about it, who is Shelton.
Yes, I had so much fun working on this series. It was truly a joy to do, and I'm really excited to share it with you all today if you haven't seen it.
I'm excited.
And before we get started though, we would all like to give a really big thanks to the Humble Bundle community. Without their generous support, Perfectly Queer would not be able to happen. So thank you so much, Humble Bundle. We are very grateful for providing us this space. Absolutely. So let's take a moment and get comfy and settle in and grab your water bottle. I love mine. And let's get the show going with the Queer Current.
not my dad exposing me in the chat and calling me the family agent of chaos. He's so rude.
But you are.
I am, but he doesn't have to say it. Anyway, welcome to the Queer Current, you guys, where we bring you 5 news stories to talk about this week and beyond. Our first news story is talking about District 99 students honored for fight to keep genderqueer on library shelves. Now, genderqueer is a book specifically speaking from the author's perspective about coming into their gender nonconformity and also their asexuality. And a lot of parents in this Northern Illinois school district were kind of like not feeling it. That's the very charitable way to say it. They did not want the book on the shelves. They thought it was, explicit sexually and all those other things. So some of the kids took it upon themselves to read the book and to advocate for the book to stay on library shelves, which I think is an amazing show of advocacy and activism. What do you think, Shelton?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what was sadly not surprising to me is that a bunch of people wanted to ban a book that they hadn't read.
Right.
And I think that's something that we're seeing happen more and more in this moment in America right now, is that people are so afraid of that which is different that they reject it before they even remotely bring it into themselves. And I think books, media in general, but books specifically for me, and maybe just because I was raised without a television, so books were really my window to the world. Yeah. My parents didn't like them, so I didn't have one.
That's fair.
Yeah, it just, now it's someone makes a reference for the 90s and I have absolutely no idea what anyone's talking about. But I'm like, Redwall, let's talk about my favorite mouse warrior. Who knows? But I just think that books are such phenomenal windows into other people's lives and their worlds. And especially when you get, you're able to be exposed to work by authors who are not like you. It is such a wonderful way to practice empathy with someone else. So I think it's incredibly important that books about queerness remain on our library shelves to help not just queer kids, but even the cis hetero kids to understand what difference can be and to further interrogate their own lives and understand what they actually want. So I'm so proud of these kids for doing this work. And yeah, as they're saying in the chat, I do think these kids are going to change the world. I'm so incredibly impressed, literally, and personally empowered by the work that these kids are doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love the end of the article also, where one of the high school representatives, she said, just because we're kids doesn't mean that we don't know what we're talking about, and just because other people are adults doesn't mean that they absolutely have all the authority to say what is right or wrong. And I really appreciate that, because I think we should, take a varied opinion, especially from the kids that are actually going to school and having to live through the curricular choices that are being made by adults. So I think it's fabulous. I think it's so fabulous.
Yeah, speaking of which,
what are you looking
It is
for?
not next to me right now, but I was just going to grab a book that I have that I wanted to shout out for a moment, which is this book called Graveyard Boys, which if no one has read, I'm going to tell everyone to go read this book. It is amazing. It's about Latinx witches in California, and it is after the main character's uncle mysteriously passes away. This sort of community has to come together to figure out what had happened. And it is just a beautiful, super queer, fabulous, witchy story. And if anyone's looking for a new book to read, I would suggest Graveyard Boys.
I am looking for a new book to read, so thank you.
You're welcome. We can talk about it next time.
Absolutely.
Which brings us into our next story, The Dream Life of Georgia Stone. Now, this is a new movie that's coming out from Australia, directed by Maya Newell, that just the trailer just dropped. And it is a coming of age documentary that was shot over 19 years.
That's
which
so crazy.
Is amazing. And
that's so crazy.
It focuses on Georgia Stone and their journey to come into their transness and into their body and who they are in the world. And I personally am just in awe of this young person for going in front of the camera for so many years to talk about their life and their journey. And I think this is an incredible object that we'll all be able to watch. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be incredibly informative for a lot of people that are outside of the experience of transness, just because I feel like people make this assumption that trans people just wake up one morning and they make this decision that they're trans. And so to see this person go through 19 years of it, I think will really give some people some perspective and just what this process really looks like, how arduous it can be, how beautiful it can be. And also as someone who studies film and media, and specifically like marginalized people within those films and media, I don't think people understand how insane it is that how much progress we've made in even just the last 10 years of the representation of trans people, both like being able to be in front of the camera, but like writing and directing and camera work. And I like, it is astronomical and it is so encouraging. And I hope that we continue to progress that way in filmmaking, and we continue to tell these stories because they're so important. Speaking of importance, I'll go for it.
They will, like, for sure. And I think part of the way that we
Absolutely.
can do it is by watching these movies and talking about them and, you know, educating people who may be outside of like the initial sphere of influence about this film. So like check it out, share it with your friends, share it with your community, share it with people who might not normally find this film on their radar. That's how we can start conversations.
Absolutely. Speaking of a conversation.
Oh, talk to me about a conversation.
In our third news story, Britney Spears and Elton John collaborated on a song. And let me tell y'all, I was going to pretend to like it even if I didn't, because we support Britney and Spears in this house, always and forever. Always and forever am I a Britney stan. But the song is actually really good. Like, it's really good, which is so amazing because this is like the first single that Britney has put out since she got out of her conservatorship. And so it's really a project that she got to have like complete creative control over. And I kudos to you, Britney. Kudos to you.
Well, what was your favorite Britney song before this new duet with Elton John?
That's like asking you to pick like your favorite child. I
mean, I feel like I would have a really fast answer for that. Maybe again, because I'm evil.
I love Womanizer. I think that song, like, if you want me to dance, you just have to play me the first like 8 count of that song. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? I love that song. What about you? What's your favorite Britney song?
Hold It Against Me, hands down.
Yeah.
Like, and like her and that dance.
Yeah.
I'm like a huge music video person. So like anytime she was like in an amazing outfit, like being incredible, watching the world end. Britney had a period where like evering was very apocalyptic in her music videos.
It's true.
Which I now understand, I think was like her attempting to talk about like the position that she was in. But at the time I was just like, she's like an environmentalist, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. It Gets Better is excited that Britney is back. People are gonna go listen to the song afterwards. It's a slow jam, okay, friends? So like I had to give it like 3 listens to before I really fully felt like I was in the song.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a really good song, and I'm very excited to see now that she has full like creative control what her collaborative projects are going to look like now. Like Elton John is such like an interesting, fun choice, and so I'm really excited to see like what's going to happen next for her. I'm very excited for her. Also, early Britney is that girl. Early Britney is my favorite too. So
I have been missing her sort of like breathy voice for I think the better part of a decade now. You know, she's so great. She's an iconic part of like the soundscape of my childhood. So
agreed.
Yeah, Panwise, I'm with you. I think if like She's So Lucky came on.
Oh my god, yeah.
I might even like know enough of the choreography to embarrass myself. I was like never good at learning the choreo routines, but I always like tried it. I'm friends with a lot of like professional dancers, and so they would like slay it, and
I don't
like,
even bother
in the background.
I never even bothered.
We're gonna have to have a D&D campaign where we only play as Britney Spears stans characters,
and like also the bards.
Yeah, you can be a bard. I'll be a warlock who's trying to take Britney's voice, I guess. Very Ursula vibes.
Ursula.
Yes, Ursula. Give me more time.
Give me more is a bop. R. William. It really is.
Let's jump into our 4th story because we could sit here with Britney for literally
forever.
And that is gender dysphoria is being covered by disability law federal court rules. So what's happened is the 4th Circuit Court, and that is the court that oversees Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, had this important ruling come down where they decided that gender dysphoria can be treated as a disability. And this is like a really exciting win because it means that we're going to be able to get medical access to people who need it, who are transgendered, who want to transition, who like need hormone therapy. And there's been a lot of pushback from the rest of the country right now about trying to limit the access that trans people can have to life-saving medical care. And so this is like a great way to try to like create some protection around that rules in those space, so these people can be helped by the system. Seems so sad that we have to have this conversation in 2022, but it is positive and interesting.
I also really appreciate with this story how much of an emphasis is put on the fact that like the medical community agrees and has agreed for a very long time about what the best course of action is for treating gender dysphoria, and that is gender affirmation. That is like enacting things that affirm the gender of the person going through gender dysphoria. And I think the biggest disconnect often is that the legal precedent pushes up against that constantly without any of like the proper information to legislate. And so I really do hope that this Fourth Circuit decision is used as a precedent across the country so that we can have some more, a medicalized understanding of transness that is based in reality and not just in prejudice. I'm very excited to see how it will be utilized in the future. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think what Joshua was saying there is really important too. Like the first time I saw the story come out, it's why I wanted to talk about it here and dive into it a little bit more, is because at first I was very surprised by what I was reading. I like didn't understand the context of it, so it was important for me to like dive a little bit deeper into the story and find out some more about what was there.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they hear that and they think it's a concern, because like a lot of talking points that are anti-trans is that like these people are unwell and like we shouldn't entertain them and da 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 da. But like gender dysphoria is like a legitimate illness, the legitimate mental illness and disability, and so like we have to treat it as well as we can, and that is again through gender affirmation. So it's really important to have the dialogue, even if the syntax of it is like kind of hard to parse through sometimes.
And I think that brings us into our fifth story. Yeah.
Oh, it's gotta be the VMAs.
We had two really cool moments for queerness at the VMAs. The first being that Bad Bunny, during his telecast for the show, because he's on tour right now, during his telecast, he kissed a male dancer, and Twitter kind of blew up. And like, I don't know, I've been following Bad Bunny for a really long time, and so I know that he's a very like staunch supporter of the Alphabet Mafia and queer people and LGBT people in general, and our issue and like is an activist for us. And so I was like, yeah, of course he'd be comfortable kissing a man on stage. Like what are we surprised about?
I just loved it because I feel like Bad Bunny is this sort of like really interesting symbol. And so to like allow him to be on stage as someone who like has not publicly come out as queer or bi or any of that, and like Kiss a Man is to show like a level of acceptance and like access and communication with the queer community that I personally found like very respectful. And it did sort of harken back to bringing it back to Britney, center of my universe today, apparently. Britney and Madonna's kiss at the VMA years ago. And like that was an iconic moment.
That was a moment.
Me. Yeah,
that was a moment. Truly.
And so I'm glad that Bad Bunny's bringing it back to us now with that. But also, not just Bad Bunny, Dove Cameron dedicated her Best New Artist Award at the VMAs to queer youth. And I thought that was amazing.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, she's lovely. And, you know, I'm a very visual person. I mentioned already, I love music videos. I love what Dove Cameron did with the styling in the Breakfast music video. I thought that was like, and Boyfriend, thought that was like really fun. And so the way they like restyled and interpreted it for their live performance was great to me. And the fact that they like just stood there and let their fabulous drop sleeves do all of their acting. No, I was entranced. I was fully entranced. You know, and then like their whole like revealing the message on the back of the shirts while lowering the suit jackets. I was like, oh, and it's political, felt nuanced. Very excited to see what Dove does next.
Absolutely. I hope she continues to feel empowered by the community. I hope we continue to stand behind her and she continues to be an advocate. Yeah. Very excited to see her and Bad Bunny, both of them. Can't wait to see what's in the future.
Yeah, Britney plus Dove plus Bad Bunny collaboration.
Could you imagine?
I don't know. All I can tell you is that will be the theme song for our D&D Britney-centric campaign, because yes, Barbarian Toxic Britney is amazing. You can only do roles or casts or classes that somehow are influenced by Britney.
And that's it.
Yeah, it'll be so good. This has been so fun talking about the joy of the news this week.
What's the chat talking about?
They're talking about.
I haven't seen Bullet Train yet. I really want to see it. I've heard it's like very fun, fast-paced, cool.
I also haven't seen Bullet Train. I get scared in movies.
What?
Full stop.
That's fair enough.
Taylor, I also was a film major in college. Yes, we should chat about this sometime.
Did I know this already?
I don't think
You never
so.
told me this.
It was a long time ago. I literally screamed at the DVD loading screen of Jaws, and then the teacher had to like make an announcement and be like, you were watching a movie for art reasons, like it's a fake shark. And my like friend's dad is like in the movie.
Anyway,
it's like the first person.
That's the end of the show, you guys.
Yeah, scary movies scare me. I don't understand how people do it. It's super fun and easy watch. Thank you, Nova Jones. Then maybe I will be able to tell you all at some other point in time if I could handle watching Bullet Train.
Absolutely. But yeah, we're gonna move on.
Yes,
thank you so much for joining us for the news, you guys.
Yeah.
Before we get into our Friends of the Family interview with Momo, we're first gonna do a quick little stream cleanse.
This one is for the boys with the booming system, top down, AC with the coolest system. When you come up in the club, he be blazing up. Got stacks on deck like he's saving up. And he ill, he feel, he brings got a deal. He pop bottles and he got that right kind of bill. He cold, he dope, he brings up. He be always in the air, but he never fly couch.
That song is so chaotic. I love it.
It's so good. It makes me feel like I'm in the Old West and I'm in a saloon and I'm wearing a fancy dress. I love.
Okay,
I also love queer upcycling. That's just really a shout out for that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's a tenet of queerness. And you know
Shall
what
we
else is a
take it
tenet of
into-
queerness?
Yep, friends of the family.
Friends of the family.
Yeah, let's go there.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hard.
That was very fun and dramatic. I hope you all use that time to think about who you would be as Britney Spears in a D&D campaign. Though.
Yeah, you better have been using that time for something valuable while we were getting ourselves together. But go ahead.
No, let's go on with the show. I can keep talking about Britney and D&D for far
anyway,
too long.
We have a fabulous guest joining us today by the name of Momomisfortune. They are a part of the IGB Twitch family. They do streams on here. Very amazing streams, by the way. They stream anything from Among Us to a sort of playing of Cult of Misfortune.
And now you probably all know Momo from the amazing work that they did with developer EA, also known as Electronic Arts, who is the company that puts out The Sims. And they led a campaign to introduce pronouns and gender neutral vocabulary to The Sims, which we have talked about already on this show.
Yes.
And so we're so excited to have Momo here, and we're so incredibly honored and proud of the work that they're doing. And so first we're going to start off with a little clip of Momo learning the news about what they were able to accomplish with The Sims, and then we're going to go right into the interview. So let's hit it. Take it away. Video of Momo.
Together. And I think this just really shows how much the Sim Gurus care about our opinions and what we think is important, because this is so important. I'm just thinking about how, when I was younger and I started playing The Sims, it was a way for me to safely explore my sexuality. And now that we have customizable pronoun options in the game, this is going to help so many kids be able to safely explore their identities. And that's so important.
Hello.
You're gonna make me cry watching that.
I almost started crying just now. I was like, wait.
I'm already feeling a little emotional today, and that was
Right? Oh my
All
god.
right, well, let's just start this. Momo, thank you so much for being here. First things first, we do names and pronouns. My name is Shelton Whimsy. I go by he, they, or the fairy she.
I am Tayler. I go by she, her.
And I'm Momo, and I use they, them pronouns.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. That clip was
Thank you for
really
having
beautiful.
me.
I remember when we went over that article a few weeks or months back, and I also kind of got really emotional reading it, and just understanding exactly what you said, the safety of being able to explore your sexuality, your gender expression in video games is so important. There's a level of escapism to that is so safe and comforting, and it's so important. So thank you so much for, you know, your contributions into that and everything like that. It's amazing.
It's always so weird when, like, I feel like when people thank me for it, and I'm like, I feel like people don't have to thank me for it, but I'm like, I get it.
No, yeah, you should take that. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like when I first started playing video games, I was, you know, I played a lot as the girl on a lot of video games because that felt like the way I was able to like safely explore, maybe even express my queerness, like especially around my other like straight guy friends when we play video games together. So having you do that and like bring it to something that was like a playable option and something that exists in the world, like, yeah, it was super moving.
Absolutely.
I think it's changing the landscape of what kids are able to do because they're able to imagine themselves in whole worlds as their full selves in ways that I wasn't able to, you know, a few years ago. And so I think this is a tremendous change. I'm so incredibly thankful for the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
But I have to ask, changing the tone, as someone who does watch your streams, you seem like a little bit of like this like cult leader vibe. Not mad at it. So, what rituals do you have before you sit down and stream, Momo?
Well, you know, running a cult is very hard work.
Yes,
it takes a lot of caffeine. First thing in the morning.
I'm sure.
Well, and it's funny because I don't really do anything in particular before I start streaming because I do stream. Like, I wake up 2 hours before I stream. I get up, turn my PC on, do my makeup, and then chug coffee and then stream. Like that's it. So most of my time in the morning is like doing my hair and all that.
Your hair is real good though.
Thank you.
It's really good. The color is so vibrant.
Thank you.
It's so nice.
And what's your favorite way to take your coffee?
Yeah.
I just drink black cold brew. I am a self-proclaimed coffee snob. I used to be a barista before I started streaming, so I just drink black coffee.
Really?
Yeah. I was the local queer barista.
Every city's got some. Every city has to have a quota of queer baristas. We don't make the rules, we just enforce them.
Yep.
They're like safe spaces. I love going to like the queer cafe and you're always like, yes, I can like unwind and listen to good music here.
Absolutely. Well, Momo, like we just talked about it, like how video games are kind of like a level of escapism for a lot of queer kids. But is there any other reason that you think that queer people are really drawn to video games?
I think it's just really, honestly, that is the escapism. And especially with games like The Sims, where you can actually like be yourself, or like, you know, the version of yourself you wish you could be like everywhere else. Like that's what's so attractive about like video games to the queer community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. I think it's the same with D&D, right? You get to like build this character.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Are you also a D&D player there, Momo?
I am a D&D player, yep. I actually
what's your class?
A tiefling sorcerer. I also have a bard character. I have a couple. Tiefling sorcerer, tiefling bard, tiefling warlock.
Yeah.
Those are my three.
I love tieflings.
Momo,
So
between the cult leader and your little horns on your headphones there.
Starting to sense a theme.
Yeah, I'm sensing a theme here.
I do have a brand. I like to stick to it.
Yeah. I thought my brand was pastels, but I'm realizing it's also tiefling warlock.
I think it's also mullets. I think you're selling yourself a little short.
We love a good mullet.
True.
Thank you.
Mullet gang.
You're getting a lot of hang time.
Oh my God. Wow, Momo. Our mullets should like play D&D together sometime.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would be. I feel like my personality is like 75% mullet right now, which I'm not mad at, really.
You said you used to be a barista, but like what made you shift from like the coffee arts to streaming? Like what was that transition like? Like what like kind of pushed you into that?
Well, we hit a global pandemic.
Real.
And I unfortunately am an immune compromised person. I have Crohn's disease. So I had to stop working because of my high risk of getting COVID. And I've always kind of streamed. Not like I used to stream like a couple years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, but I would only stream for like my friends because we all play games together, and then I'd stream so they could watch it. And then I used to stream Overwatch actually maybe like 4 years ago. I was like streaming Overwatch for a little bit and then kind of like stopped And then when I discovered the Sims 4 community, I was like, where are all the queer people? So I was like, instead of, waiting to find queer people, I was like, what if I just start streaming and be the queer person that I want to see in the Sims community? So that really I was at home doing nothing, playing Animal Crossing. Because, Animal Crossing came out like 2 weeks after everything shut down.
It's true.
So just playing Animal Crossing. It was, it was a great
really
time, honestly.
That was really
Did Animal Crossing plan the pandemic? Absolutely not.
If they did, the timing was impeccable. It was impeccable.
It's perfect.
So what's your favorite part
what
of
really drove me to do that?
Yeah.
So Momo, now that you've created this whole queer Sims community, what's your favorite part about that space? What have you maybe learned from them? Everybody's
so wonderful. And I have a story to share actually today. This is the reason why I'm a little extra emotional. There's a person that comes to my streams all the time. They're very uplifting and always share really positive, inspiring messages to help uplift people in chat. They came in today and they're like, hey, can I ask a mod something about something I want to do, if that's okay? They had two $60 gift cards for GC2B for chest binders that they wanted to give away to my community. And it was so nice and so sweet.
That's so sweet.
And the two people that won bought binders immediately.
I'm gonna cry.
It was so so I think it's just that happening, and I get so many people in my chat who are like, I'm starting hormones today, or I just scheduled my top surgery, and that was stuff that I never really expected when I started streaming, to have trans people and queer people feel comfortable enough to come into a space and share those kinds of things is what makes it so worthwhile.
I'm literally, there are tears in my eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
I've become a professional at holding back my tears with all the things that I've
be. I'd be boohoo sobbing.
I couldn't cry. I was like, I'm on a podcast later. I can't ruin my makeup today.
Right.
I mean, everyone in the chat is already telling us that they themselves are crying. So everyone's
take our tears, chat. Take the tears.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is so beautiful because I think especially in the pandemic, as you sort of mentioned, right, we all got fractured away from each other. And I feel like we've all been a little bit hungry to find new ways to communicate and to be in community with each other, which is, so wonderful. And so I think the work that you are doing and building this community and creating this safe place is so incredibly needed. And people want to know where they can find this podcast.
Yes. This podcast. Oh, Momo, what's your podcast?
Yeah.
I don't have a podcast.
Oh, what podcast were you on?
Yeah. Oh, this one. I'm talking about this one.
Oh, okay, cool. We were like,
that's the show.
Y'all, it is a Wednesday.
I'm gonna be on this.
It's a Wednesday. They don't call it hump day for no reason. We gotta get over it, bro. I guess one last question I have for you, Momo, is what do you see being the future of gaming, especially in relation to queerness? What do you hope to see, as we continue to evolve?
It's interesting. I had a friend of mine point this out after they finally did add the customizable pronoun options to The Sims, is that because it's something that's in The Sims 4 now, that it's going to be implemented into every future version of The Sims.
True.
And with Electronic Arts and EA being such a big company, it's that hope of other companies taking notice and seeing how impactful it is, and that is. So it's the hope that other gaming companies and games will see that and start to implement it more into their games.
Yeah, I think that's always the hope. I used to do a lot of data analytics for an undisclosed, unnamed, but very large production company. And one of the things that I would look at was gaming. And you would not believe the amount of people that just automatically believe that only a certain demographic play video games. And that they don't really have to accommodate other people, queer people, people of color, disabled people. And so, but as time has gone on, they've kind of retooled a lot of stuff and been well, actually, they also buy video games and they would like to play them. And yeah, you got to just make it a little more inclusive, dude.
Yep. Yeah. I started playing Dragon Age. I got back into video games in the pandemic. That was like Final Fantasy VII was my like favorite video game as a child. And so when they relaunched it, right, you know, also at the start of the pandemic, I was like, gotta do it. But I started playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and that was like the game that really like solidified my return to like being a gamer, because there was so many romance options for queerness, which was like shocking to my system. Like 12-year-old Shelton, who had like the last time I'd really played video games to now, there's just been such a huge shift. And the fact that I could like romance an ogre version of Freddie Prinze Jr. was like not something I didn't enjoy doing.
Period.
So like excited about that story for myself, like grateful that other people get to do it, like excited for the future. You know, exactly, Pennywise. When are we going to be able to get the next one? I don't know. I'm not a video game producer yet. But I think it's I used to actually work for a video game company years ago, translating the scripts from English into American. Lives. Yeah. I have, you know, it's because I'm an endless eternal being from the realm of Faerun. Anyway, Momo, I want to ask you a question, and that is that we are at the time in our show where we do canonically queer. Is there music here? So this is the part of the show where we're going to ask you to show us the queerest thing that's in your home.
Or in your general vicinity right now.
Don't look at my legs. Streamers don't have legs.
Okay.
Streamers don't have legs. Don't.
I don't have any. I don't have legs.
I feel like we need a t-shirt that says that streamers don't have legs.
Sometimes I film the show and my bottoms do not match at all. It's what is this?
This is my trans Long Furby. Their name is Satan the Oat Destroyer.
You saying to me right
now? I thought this was appropriate.
This is both very appropriate and hopefully the main character of our Britney Spears themed D&D campaign.
I'm like quite literally speechless. I don't even understand.
Can
he's just a Furby, but you know he's long.
One more time.
It is like it's Satan, like the vegan like fake meat.
Satan.
Yes. Satan the Oat Destroyer.
Like oat milk?
They're just oats.
The queers do love oats. It's true. This is the most amazing thing I think a guest has brought on thus far. This is
I am an overachiever, so
achievement unlocked. You just leveled up.
The color scheme is phenomenal. Are you kidding me?
You know,
did you make this yourself?
I did not. I got him on Etsy. That's where all the good things come from.
Etsy's a weird place. They got a lot of stuff out there. Wow.
Momo, I feel like you just won the show. I feel like
I just feel like I don't know how to move on from my life after this. Like I feel
take
it was
my
like,
dice.
It was like pre-Satan and now it's like post-Satan.
Now you feel the need to go to Etsy and get your own, you know?
That's literally, I'm like, if I knew my dog wouldn't destroy it, I would be on Etsy right now in the middle of the show.
He also came with a birth certificate, so
what sign is he or she?
Shut up, a birth certificate.
Yeah, Panwise is giving it a 10 out of 10.
It absolutely
is.
Here's the birth certificate.
Wow. Is a Gemini, correct?
Cancer, I think.
Cancer.
Because it's just
it's
after
late June, yeah.
Late
Cancer,
June,
right.
Likes death metal and oats, dislikes turfs. Hobbies, making intricate haunted house dioramas.
You know what? Valid.
Yeah, I look forward to reading the graphic novel about Satan. Where can I find this? In fact, Momo, where can we just find you in general?
You can find me I'm very easy to find on social media. I am Momomisfortune everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, except Facebook. If you find a Momomisfortune on Facebook, report it because that's not me.
Period.
Okay, will do. Momo, Momo and Satan, it has been a pleasure to have both of you on this show.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad I could introduce you to my magnificent son.
My life is forever changed.
Yeah, we are all have been transformed. And everyone who is watching, please make sure that you check out Momo's Twitch streams, whether or not they're playing games or also here ambassadoring with the It Gets Better project. They're a phenomenal person, and we are so grateful to have you on the show. Thank you, Momo. Have a good evening, and we'll check back in with you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
I am obsessed with them, and I'm obsessed with Satan.
Shelton, when I tell you I don't even know what to do with myself after seeing something like that. I am a new woman.
Yeah. I feel like I made my mom drive all the way to New York City. We grew up upstate, and like buy me a Furby when I was a child. It's like ingrained as like a core memory.
Very in vogue, right?
Oh my God. And like you couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I like loved it. And it was this little black and white Furby thing. It was ugly.
Scared me when I was little. My friend had a collection like of like Furbies and Beanie Babies and like a case, and I was so scared of it.
Oh, ew. No, I feel like it's time that we move on because
Yeah.
nothing will ever top Satan. The Furby.
Yeah, but we do have to move into the Converse
Mhm.
quick hit.
All right, so let's
Yeah.
go. Bam, bam, bam.
Bam, bam, bam.
Bam, bam, bam.
The Converse Quick Hit.
Hello, welcome to the show. So the Converse Quick Hit is where we look at the corners of the internet to find friends, trends, and odds and ends, usually on TikTok, but sometimes we go to other places too. Although this week we will be at TikTok yet again. And this first this first video is a friend's video, and it is talking about the illustrious life of drag kings.
I have one thing to say. You better work, bitch.
Wow.
I'm so impressed.
It's kind of giving him from Powerpuff Girls.
It's so giving him from Powerpuff Girls.
I loved him when I was little. I was so
Mhm.
enthralled by him.
Yeah, my entire awakening as a person essentially was maybe this is why I want to be a villain. It's because like all villains are queer.
Villains are queer coded. They
Yeah,
are.
and so it's like the only people I related to, Ursula and him. All right, we're gonna hit you with the next part of our Converse Quick Hit. We're looking at trends. We're looking at my friend of there, Bella Hadid, Horse Girl Fantasy. I live for this guy. Take it away.
I'm so afraid of horses. I'm so afraid of horses.
Okay, so why are you afraid of horses?
When I was in primary school, I knew a girl named Georgia. Her family owned a horse ranch, and she asked me, she was like, "Oh, you should come and ride horses." And at that time, when I was 6, I was like, "Yes, of course." And then she came into school. I kid you not, the next day, broken arm. I was like, "What happened, Georgia?" She said she got thrown from her horse. I was like, "Oh, that'll never happen then." That'll never happen. No.
So she ruined all horses for you.
Literally. I respect them, and I think they're very majestic, but from a distance. You know what I mean?
From a distance. Yeah,
From a
I'm thinking Bette
distance.
Midler songs now, but that's why she's another one of my queer icons. Interesting. Well, I think that horses, an evil horse, will be the villain in our Britney Spears D&D campaign.
I can
Obviously.
get behind that. I thank you, Delia Vanth. I'm glad I have some kinfolk in here that also get it. But we'll move right into our odds and ends, and we're gonna look a little bit into lesbian culture for a quick minute.
Ooh, culture.
Lesbian culture is it a date? Are we hanging out? Are we gals being pals? Are we historical roommates? Or do we have feelings? Or are we friends? I don't know, and I never...
Honestly, as a bisexual, I get it.
Yeah, I also, as a gay man, I also get this because sometimes
get
I
it.
hang out with someone, you're like, I don't know.
Are you into me
I
or
didn't
not?
have enough questions.
Right. I just thought, are we hanging out or not? I didn't ask. I didn't clarify. I'm so sorry.
Do we just run into each other here at this movie that we both bought tickets to together? I'm not sure.
I'm
What's
not
my name?
sure.
I just get really awkward on dates. So
Same. Like,
yeah.
so awkward. Ugh.
I also have this like ESPN, like a Sixth Sense or something. That like if there's someone
Mean
cute,
Girls reference.
I know, I can't help myself. If there's like a cute boy walking down the street, there is a 105% chance that I'm about to yawn really awkwardly on their face. So like
Okay.
anytime like a cute boy looks at me, I'll always be like, and it's like every time. That's how I know the keepers. They're the ones who stay around and ask my name even after I've just been like, ah,
You'll know I
being all
like you
weird.
if I avoid you like the plague. If I avoid
yeah.
talking to you at all costs, I am in love with you.
That feels reasonable, and I think why Tayler and I think about our dating life and how we bring ourselves fully to our relationships. Let's hit it with a stream cleanse, friends.
Piece is titled Mirror. When I originally made this piece, I titled it Acceptance because as I was attaching the silk, if it broke, I didn't replace it. I let it stay. And this led to a lot of negative feedback. People wanted to see perfection. And that's when I changed the name to Mirror, because none of us are perfect, and this is a reflection of that. And there is still beauty in that imperfection.
I love that.
Me too.
I love that.
Yeah, I really relate to that.
That's what we strive for on the show as well. Like for people to understand that like life is a journey. It is a process. Perfection is not really the end goal as much as it is to just grow into yourself and accept like the flawed parts. And like, we hope that that's what you guys get from this. If you get nothing else,
take that.
Take that.
I think it just reminds me of one of my favorite clips of Julia Childs, and she's trying to explain why you should learn how to make a simple sugar syrup. And she's like, you could serve your friends one of your mistakes and they might think that's what you intended to serve them. And I was like, girl, like that was some real like advice I took to heart in COVID when I was like experimenting with baking. I was like, people don't know that I was trying to make flan.
People don't know. When mistakes happen, a lot of the time people are not clocking it. So just keep it pushing.
Yeah, just keep going. In fact, I think it's time to keep pushing on with the show. And let's go to our next segment, which is Let's Talk About It. Yeah.
As stated at the beginning of the show, we are here to help you live or attempt to live your most authentic and beautiful life. And a lot of the times that comes from getting non-professional, therefore non-admissible advice from people on the internet.
That is what it is. And these people are, just for those people rejoining the show, I'm Shelton Whimsy. I'm your resident, fairy godparent, sort of a creature. And I'm joined here by...
I'm Tayler, the girl that lives 2 blocks away from the hospital and therefore hears sirens every 30 minutes on the dot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go first? Should I go first?
Sure, I'll ask you the first question. We're going to do 2 questions today in our Let's Talk About It moment. The first one that came in was, how do I advocate for myself and others going into this new school year? Tayler, do you have any advice?
That's a really great question. Disclaimer, I haven't been in like secondary school. I'm still in school right now because I'm getting my doctorate, but I haven't been in like high school in like 7 years. So like my vibe might be a little different from your vibe, dear question asker. But I would first say that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So before you attempt to advocate for other people, make sure that you are full enough in like your ability to advocate for yourself. Because like you can't help anyone if you're burnt out, right? If you don't have the tools. And so what's really important is making sure that you're settled into yourself, you're comfortable in yourself. And then through that, I feel like you can create community because people will see that you are comfortable in yourself. That's always been my thing. It's like, I will see somebody who seems incredibly sure of themselves and I gravitate towards them and we're able to affect a lot of change. And I've been that person and I've collaborated with that person. And so it's really important that you center yourself first, as counterintuitive as that seems, in order to build a community that will last. I would also see if you can start a coalition of sorts. Like my high school didn't have a queer alliance until I think my junior year. And so like that was really, I think we started off with like 5 members And then by the time I was graduating, there were like 20 members. And so, you know, it might be slow goings, but like there are a lot of people that if they aren't queer themselves, want to align themselves with queerness as allies. So I would definitely like try to start something like that. What do you think, Shelton?
I mean, I think everything that you've said is like really wonderful advice. I feel that I personally used to fall a little bit into the trap of, you know, I'm an Aries. I'll put it out there. Aries, Leo. I've got a lot of fire signs. Ooh. Yeah. And so sometimes I need to take a moment to like breathe and process what I'm feeling, and also acknowledge that a lot of the times when I felt super uncomfortable in school and felt like I needed to advocate was also just because I wasn't being like authentically me. And so, you know, at that time, it was just like I was spending a lot of time pretending to be someone I wasn't. And so I always felt just sort of uncomfortable. And so I think what it for me, exactly what you're saying, you have to make sure that your own cup is filled with water, or that like you are grounded and centered in yourself. So I think that's like really good advice, is to take care of yourself first. And then when you have the space to take care of others, you can. And there's like no rush. It might take you a while to like figure yourself out. So I think starting a coalition, finding a group of people who are like-minded to you, that can be a great way to like learn from others, and then learn together how you can advocate to uplift those around you.
Absolutely. Let's move into the second question.
Oh my God.
Our
okay.
second question is, how do you usher in a new season, Shelton?
Oh my God. Okay. So I usher in a new season by trying to like redesign everything in my house to be seasonally appropriate. I love a makeover. I think to me, changing the space that I live in or changing something in my house, like when the seasons change, like help me to refresh where I'm living and remind myself like what I'm trying to do.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it was always around trying to like make my space comfortable when I was at school for studying. Right. Like that was a big thing, like always wanting to make sure that I had like a reading nook or a place that I could like sit and just like really not be interrupted and not be distracted. I used to live with a lot of boys, and like that was really fun, but there's just like a lot of energy. And so I had to like make sure I could carve out my own space to like be silent. As an adult, that's like manifested in me leaving my cell phone in another room and putting like turning the internet off on my computer, you know, or, you know, little ways to just like make myself feel grounded. And I try to do that in like a bigger way when the seasons shift, to just sort of like acknowledge the change. You know, we're on August 31st right now, and September 1st is always the start of fall, regardless of what the calendar says.
True.
How about you? What do you do when seasons change?
I think my go-to is always music and food. Like listening to music that feels like fall to me, like a lot of folk music, a lot of like, you know, just like very like kind of like slow but like earthy type of tone music. And then also like I start baking things that are a little bit more fall, like pumpkin things with like the aromatics, things with cloves, cinnamon, stuff like that. Because in the summer and in the spring, I like to do like bright stuff, you know, citruses, things like that. But now we're moving into like the warmer months. So it's like rituals like that really give me a perspective of like where I am temporally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I love that. And we're getting some good advice in the chat. Nova Jones starts a new playlist for each season.
Yes, exactly.
I think that is amazing. Exactly. And also, yeah, the New York weather does not seem to remember that September is the start of fall.
I don't care what the weather does.
Like we're still in summer. It just feels like fall.
I don't care what the weather does. Pan wise, I've seen more autumn themed decorations for sale in the last 2 weeks in North. Yeah, America actually takes fall pretty serious, even though we like completely skip over Thanksgiving. Like we do fall decorations pretty crazy.
I love the animatronic skeletons, are like literally my dream. I love them. I love the houses that put too many on them.
Yes.
I love the terrible like whoa ho ho music that comes out everywhere. It's my whole vibe.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Again, villain energy. Yeah. You know, I think it's time that we, you know, go dream about a pumpkin spice latte and move into our final section today, where we are going to be doing the Thrive In and Enliven with the It Gets Better project.
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Not the chat arguing about the pumpkin spice latte.
Also, I originally read that and was like, pumpkin spice latte came out. I was like, bye.
No,
Like, bye,
Sophie's
pansexual.
like liar.
I don't know. What would pumpkin spice latte be if it was a D&D character? I feel like it would be a cleric.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're moving into Thriving and Enliven, where we're going to watch a video by the It Gets Better project directed by, one of our lovely guest co-hosts that we have joining us today. And it is about presentation. Let's roll the clip.
Yeah.
Just emotion and shine. Well, okay, we're just gonna put that back. It's cute though, right?
Granny doily? Come on, this screams me.
Most people don't know this. When they woke up today, they actually did drag.
Is there a thing of over-accessorizing? It's gorgeous. No. Oh, that's great too.
Presentation is an opportunity to go ham.
Ooh.
History. How we choose to dress says a lot about who we are. What society considers feminine and masculine in clothing has changed a lot throughout the eras. During the reign of King Louis XV in 18th century France, pink was a masculine color associated with ideas of novelty, elegance, and aristocratic splendor. U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt wore dresses as a child in the 1880s, an outfit that was considered gender neutral at the time. At the end of the day, or century, clothing and style are fluid, just like us.
So I've coined the term granny chic for my style.
When my clothing is doing the thing that I want it to do, I feel like I'm hosting the ultimate party. Wait, this one? Okay, wait. Being seen and also seeing other people. Like I feel like there's more of a sharing that happens with the people that I interact with.
So I work in national policy. They all wear blue and gray suits. Ew. If you go out with me, people look. I don't know if they're looking because they love my clothes or if because I'm sitting on 26-inch rims. Either way, it's sort of my armor to feel my complete self, regardless of their perception.
Yuwa Hamasaki is the superhero that I've created for myself. And when I dress up, I feel brave, I feel confident, I feel happy. Honestly, drag has saved my life.
I'm first generation Latina, so homophobia is huge in the Latin community, unfortunately, and also like being Catholic and all that stuff. I think to survive, as a lot of queer people do, we try to fit in as best as we can.
I didn't really have, an accepting family growing up. Maybe they were loving, they were caring, but they were still traditional Chinese parents. So I have to be very conservative, very traditional, the jeans, the t-shirt, the hoodie, all that stuff.
I mean, the first time I put on a dress, I was with a friend. He told me to go to the dressing room, and I couldn't. I opened the door and was like, "Do you see my dress?" He was like, "You look great." I couldn't embody it in that moment. I was still in the dressing room, with the door open, just look quick, I'm gonna close the door. That was maybe the multi-year-long process of me trying on more things, having more friends that say, "You look great."
When I discovered what being gay was, I thought that there was a new set of rules that you have to follow, that you have to wear skinny jeans, tight t-shirts, tight pants. I never really fit into any one of them. I've realized that I can just be myself.
Once I accepted my queerness, I then started to explore masculinity a bit. Baggier clothing, being more butch, I guess. I wanted to be visibly queer, and I wanted the world to see that so that I could feel it as well.
I grew up in foster care, so I was taken away from my family at the age of 6. I formed my disability identity quickly because I had to navigate the world in that way. And so I had 6 different families that I grew up with, white, cis families. So coming out, I originally came out at 14. And the first thing they said to me is, "You can't be gay." And so I moved out at 17 and started on this journey of trying to love myself and pushing through other people's barriers.
I think my style evolved from conforming and being this like all-American girl to then exploring my queerness and my identity through masculinity and expressing myself in that way. And that helped me to get to where I am today with my like hyper femme kind of maybe even mocking femininity and playing into drag a little bit.
I'm Latinx, I'm disabled. I really didn't want to be queer as well. I didn't want to be LGBTQ. And so coming out at 17, I had no choice. Like, the universe basically said, I made you this unicorn. You're gonna have to deal with it and deal with it quick. I would say you are loved. You are who you're supposed to be. And even though you don't love yourself now, you're gonna find your tribe.
It's like, you're a person, you're not a Pinterest board. Like, you know, dress the way you want.
Start with one thing. One scarf, one hat, one shoe, and work your way up. It doesn't have to happen overnight, and it could be ever evolving. You know, I hope I'm gonna be some sassy 70-year-old wearing leather pants and like beautiful scarves.
You're already on the path. You're already doing it. So just keep going.
I don't know if I'm just like especially sensitive today, but I literally almost started crying again.
I mean, those people, they shared so much of themselves in that like very quick 5-minute video. So it's hard not to get emotional.
It was beautiful. I really appreciated a lot of that video. I think I especially appreciated I can't remember their name. But she said like how like their journey was like being in a very conservative straight culture and then like shifting into like gay culture and like feeling like there's still a fashion binary for both of them and like figuring out that like they don't have to do either of those things. I think that that's really the crux of it all, is just like those identifiers don't have to limit how you dress or how you present yourself at all. I think that's really important. But also, what was it like directing these and meeting these people and like kind of creating this video?
You know, it was amazing. It was like such a wonderful experience. We did 4 videos in the series, and so I talked to like 20 different people to put these videos together, and every single person that we talked to was just like showed up and was so present and like willing to share their journeys with us. And to me, it was really inspiring and impactful, right? Because I think we make the world a better place when we share our hardships, and we do so with vulnerability and with the presence of understanding that we're not always like our own hero in our own stories, right? Like we can make our own mistakes, and it's okay to own that. And it's okay to want change and like all of the things. And it's a lot to show up and be emotionally vulnerable to a room full of like a lot of strangers.
Absolutely.
But everyone was just so incredibly caring and sharing and wonderful. I loved working on the series. And this video in particular presentation is very important to me because I feel like a lot of my queerness as an individual is wrapped up in presentation. Like I do a lot of performance as a clown, performance as a tree, performance as a mermaid, performance like as a drag queen, as a drag king. It's like all the things, performance and style and what I wear and how the world sees me at first was very harrowing for me and made me feel uncomfortable. And then it became this superpower. Became a way to express everything from my goth side to my emo side to my punk side to my like fairy My Little Pony princess side, and like all of those Sheltons are Shelton, and I love that clothing allows me to express that. Today I'm Bug Shelton. How about you? How does presentation manifest for you in your life?
I really resonated with kind of the Latin woman or person,
Elizabeth,
that spoke about like how in a roundabout way she kind of got back to like hyper femininity, like mocking femininity. That's where I'm at right now. It's like, how campy can I like make femininity within my own like repertoire of fashion, because I struggled with it a lot growing up, just because like growing up a Black person in mostly white spaces is that you often get stripped of gender expression in general. And so I've worked really hard to work back around to embracing femininity instead of like completely nullifying it for myself. And so now I'm like, how much pink and glitter and like all those things can I wear in order to like move into a femininity that seemed foreclosed for me. And so like that's kind of where I'm at, and it's been really affirming and important. Yeah.
I think that sounds wonderful. And like, presentation is the work of our life, right? It's
Yeah,
never
absolutely.
done. It changes as we age. It changes as the culture changes, and so there's like no wrong time to start like exploring and playing with how you present to the world.
Absolutely not. You can do it
yeah.
whenever you want. You can start whenever you want.
Yeah,
One
that's
boot at a time.
for like in my case, oh my God, I'm wearing these god awful old
Please.
Birkenstocks
I
right
love
now.
Birkenstocks. You could not tell me otherwise. I love Birkenstocks.
I
love
used to
them.
wear them all the time with socks, and people would make fun of me, and they'd be like, "It's like the
so
gay
in
boy
right
who
now.
wears Birkenstocks." I'm like, just you wait. One day I will be a fashionable
You're
gay
a
man
fashion
with
icon.
a mullet and Birkenstocks and a bug shirt, and you won't know what to do.
It's true.
It has been such a pleasure to be here and to
It's been a
talk
pleasure to have
with you
you.
today.
It's been a pleasure to have you fully. Thank
I
you
just
so
have
much
to
for joining
say,
me.
oh my God, thank you so much for doing the show. It is truly, it is a pleasure to be here today, but it is a pleasure to watch you and Ever chat every week or every other week. It fills my heart with joy.
Yes, and we love working with you. You and all the other
Aw.
producers, they can't be on the screen right now, but they can hear me. We love you guys. You really keep this show together because Lord knows Ever and I, the tech issues, all of that, like you guys really keep this show together, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you.
It takes a village, people.
It takes a village every 2 weeks, which means we will be back September 14th.
Yeah, we will be back September 14th.
And we will be talking about books, which is
Yes,
amazing.
we will.
That's
we're going to chat
really,
a lot
really
about
great.
books.
Yeah, it's gonna be really great.
But between now and September 14th, if y'all need anything, anyone who's watching, make sure that you check out itgetsbetter.org, where you can find out more information about everything relating to queer life, whether or not it is to rewatch this video and presentation that we just showed you, or to see anything else in our Writing Our Own Dictionary series, which would include non-binary, trans issues, gender nonconforming. So like check that out. There's a lot of like incredible information that you can find there.
Yeah.
And as always, just saying it again, thank you to that humble bundle community.
Yeah.
We couldn't make this show without you guys. So thank
At
you so
all.
much.
Thank you so much, Humble Bundle community. And thank you guys for tuning in the chat and for the show. We love you so much. Thank you for coming to see us every 2 weeks. It's so sweet. Yeah, I think is that everything? Oh,
yeah.
What are you taking away from the show?
Oh my God, I'm taking away that Momo has the coolest Furby that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Concur.
Yeah, that is what I'm taking. I'm taking away that like you might be born some regular battery operated Furby, but like nothing can stop you from becoming a fabulous long Satan destroyer of oat Furby. Like you can live the dream. That at some point I'm going to DM a campaign for you that is entirely Britney Spears themed.
Period. Thank you. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting with bated breath.
Oh my God, everyone has to use a spear.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
You're so great.
All right, let's end the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.